I keep trying to make these videos and I keep getting foiled lately, so they'll either play wind noise over the top of what it is that I'm saying, but I'm in the woods, so there's no wind really. Or they'll cut the sound completely. They were doing that yesterday. I tried a few times to make it, and they would once I played it back, I could hear myself speaking for a couple of minutes and then the sound just stopped. Or the latest one that they've just done now on the first try of this was pausing it at 5 minutes in, and then I carried on speaking, not realising that it's paused. Now the problem that I have is I have a tendency to speak quite quietly. So I hold the phone as near my mouth as I can. I'm trying to talk louder now so that you can hear, because I'm holding the screen so that I can see the screen, so I can see that if it gets paused again. But I'm quite naturally quietly spoken. I can speak loud, I suppose, but it's not my natural kind of go-to. I'm quite low. My voice is quite low-toned, so it's really difficult for me to talk loudly. So I believe anyway. I don't know. When I listen to myself back, I think I do talk quite quiet, and I've been told that I talk quite quietly. It's funny because there was one of the gang stalkers that, tried to cuckoo me out my house, or said that she was taking my house off me. Tanya Rowlands. Hi Tanya. Was Tanya Gordon, but Tanya Rowlands, once she got married. She's really, really quietly spoken, She was funny because she started not long before it went overt, and, obviously I was being targeted already at that point, but she started really, really wanting to be in contact with me, phoning me in the night and things like that. It's fucking strange, but just part of this, another person part of this whole kind of criminal organisation, surrounded by criminals, her whole family and the family that she married into. But anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about today. I was going to talk about staying in, and people that tend to stay in and to try and avoid the things that are going on around them. And I understand that this isn't me talking because I'm trying to dismiss the way that they cope with this situation. It's completely valid, however it is that anyone decides to cope with this. It's personal choice, isn't it? Who am I to say that they're doing the wrong thing? But for me personally, I need to get out every day, or most days anyway. There is the odd day where I just don't feel like it, I can't be arsed. But most days I try and get out, and that is because I feel the need to try and immerse myself in the shit that's happening all around me. If I stayed in, and I've done it before, I've done it in the past, if I stayed in and never left, let me just pause this because there's someone walking over there and I don't want them to hear me. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's too easy for them to distract me. That's part of the problem. It's very, very easy. I'm very, very easily distracted. And they know this, so the tiniest of things distracts my very simple mind. But yeah, so in the past I've coped with it by staying in, and I always find it so much more difficult to go out after staying in for a period of time, because I don't have anyone around me. I suppose if I did, to be a shut-in, a complete shut-in, whereas and so much as I would never ever go out again, I would have someone bringing me all the things that I needed, the shopping, and I was just quite content in my own space, with the TV and the internet or whatever. Then if that's the way that people cope, then that's the way that people cope. That kind of sounds a bit blissful to me, to be honest. It doesn't sound bad. But I don't have any people around me to be bringing me anything or to help me out or anything. And so the way I cope is by going out and immersing myself in it. But for me personally, any time that I have stayed in and I've had to go out to get shopping after a few days or a week or whatever, it's so much worse. It is worse. It's so much more overwhelming. Not only psychologically do you build it up in your mind because you know that you have to go out and you put yourself into the fear state, but they also induce fear in you. And then of course these clowns around you will take it as a perfect opportunity to you're going out, to just fucking mob you on that day, and again, it'll have a knock-on effect for the following day, that you'll be back in the situation, or that was absolutely hellish experience. I don't want to do that again, you know. So for me, doing it, making sure I go out every single day, is the only way that I deal with this. Really, see a car just came and parked down at the end of the road there. I don't know if you caught that on camera. Yeah, but I understand everyone manages their situation differently, so that's not me dismissing anyone else or telling you the way that you should live your life. It's nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you, for me personally, that yeah, I couldn't stay in all the time. But you would think, I don't know if I've said this already, that after, well, I sometimes think about it, you know, after 3 years, I would have thought that it would start slowing down a little bit, that they would start easing off a little bit, but if anything, it's kind of getting worse. And the reason behind that is, I think, is well, probably a number of reasons, but resources is one. This is costing someone money, isn't it? I mean, the government, more than likely, the police, the ambulance service, the military, the government, they're all connected, you know. It's the government budget at the end of the day, you know. It all kind of shit rolls upwards in this clown world that we live in. It's, you know, shit doesn't roll down. Well, it does. We end up with the shit at the bottom, but the actual people who are shit, who are excrement, who are pieces of shit, are at the top, and that is the government, I believe, anyway. Or, you know, I don't know, you could argue and say it's the secret societies or the Roman Catholic Church, or I don't know, everyone, or Israel, and everyone has different definitions, but the people who ultimately are in power over the country, or who are shown to be in power anyway, if you listen to what you're shown in the news, are the government. And I think the people who are funding any of these kind of programmes, the funding for this will come from the government ultimately, you know. Of course, it's ran and taken part in by lots of other institutions and lots of other clubs and gangs and people, you know, but the government they're funding it. Well, so I believe anyway, and what do I fucking know? But they don't have well, they probably do have a budget that's never ending. They probably do. But they don't want to spend it. They don't want to be funding people following, you know, us about. They don't want to. They have to pay these people, remember. They have to give them some kind of... These people are getting some kind of benefit for this. They're not just doing this off their own back. This is coming out of some kind of budget. And, sorry, just dropped my rubbish. Yeah, so if they can increase the panic that's caused towards me, then they won't have to carry on funding what it is that they're doing. What they want is for me to ultimately stay in. That's what they want, you know. It's costing them to surround me by these fucks. And if I stay in, then it's easier for them to spin a certain narrative if I'm shut in the house, isn't it? You know, if I'm going out and about, it's really, really difficult for them within the community to say, oh, look at, you know, she's mentally ill, or she's under police investigation, or she's violent, or she's, you know, whatever the fuck it is that they want to say to the people around me to get them to be wary of me and to get them to participate, or just to get them to be wary. Not even the ones that are participating. The ones that are participating are paid to participate. They couldn't give a fuck what it is that they've been told about me. They don't care. They look after themselves. These aren't thinking people. These are just fucking idiots that take the money and do as they're told. You know, they're grunts. They're fucking dumb grunts. That's all they are. But the ones in the community are told a certain thing to be wary of you. You know, this is why this is happening, and we have to do this because of this narrative. But if what they're seeing with their own eyes is a woman who gets up every day and puts her shoes on and goes out walking and occasionally goes to the library and does some shopping and doesn't involve themselves in drama and walks about looking kind of clean and tidy and not bothering anyone, and, you know, dressed appropriately for the weather, and not walking about with you know, pencils stuck up her nose, Blackadder styley, or, you know, muttering to herself, it's really, really difficult for them to spin the narrative that they're trying to spin within the community for people that can see, you know. They might be thinking, hold on a second, this doesn't fit in with what they're saying about this person. But if they can surround me and mob me and just continually do it and continually get worse and worse and worse, you know, to the point where I've kind of had enough, then it's much easier for them to spin a narrative when I'm not being seen by people around me. When I'm stuck in the house, you know, they can say whatever the fuck it is they want. And I tell you, you know, how I think that they're kind of doing some of that is this house that I've lived in now. I've lived there for, I think, about 8 or 9 months. And the police and the ambulance have been to that property since I've lived there. Between 8 and 10 times, and let me add that none of those times have been anything to do with me. Well, only one time did the fat bitch cunt policewoman knock on my door within the house and ask me my name, but I've said about that in a video already. So all the times have been for the retards that live there, okay? And that's purposeful. And you know to the outsiders looking in, that's going to be, you know, that there's going to be a record somewhere that's been manufactured by the police and the NHS that these visits, these 8 to 10 visits, have been because of me. They are to do with me. That will be on record somewhere that I will never be privy to getting to see. I'll never be allowed to be shown this, and it's all done cowardly behind your back, just like everything else these people do is behind your back cowardly, because they know that, you know, if you found out about it, you'd be able to rebuff it. Is that the right word? I'm not sure. But you also know that it's a presence, isn't it? So for the neighbours, and they see these marked police cars and these ambulances outside, and then they can start asking questions. And I mean, a number of the neighbours have these Ring doorbells, you know, and the security cameras. And I'm sure there'll be someone that's employed amongst them to be taking pictures of these ambulances and the police cars outside where I live. And the narrative that will be spun alongside it is that they were there, they were called out for me because I'm, you know, I don't know, whatever story they've come up with, I'm being violent, or I'm threatening someone, or I'm threatening myself, or I'm having some kind of mental health episode, or whatever it is that they're going to spin. But I know for a fact that it'll be, that it's for me, but it's much more difficult for them to do that if I'm then getting up and going out walking every day and all they see is a normal looking person who's going out walking, you know. For the people around that actually think about what's happening around them, they might start to question it, and that can only be a good thing. So that's why they have to increase the pressure as time goes on, because the longer that you've lived in a certain place and people see you around and they see that you're not a nut and you're not acting crazy, and this police, can you see my fingers? This police investigation that you're apparently under, it doesn't seem to be fucking going anywhere. It doesn't seem to be moving forward in any way, you know. Even though these police officers will have gone to them and told them that you're under some kind of investigation, you know, the more time that goes on, the harder that is going to be for people to really believe. They're going to start questioning it. And they might not. I mean, they might only internally question it, and it's probably not going to do any good for my situation or help me in any way, but at least if they're internally questioning it, then it's something, isn't it? You know, the more people that question the world around them, or the fucking clown world around them, then the better, really, because you know, it's the more people that wake up and open their eyes, the better, well, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. It's not a load of gibberish as per usual. And I hope you heard me when I watch this back. So anyway, I'm going to go enjoy my walk for the day. You take care, lovely people, and lots of love to you all. God bless. Bye bye.